Thank you for coming across this video. Hope it touches you and helps you. Sort of looks like my thing's a little stuff. This week's study is called Don't Get Hung Like Haman. In Esther 7:10, so they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. This is a quick study on a man named Haman. You look around and people are like Haman all around us. Some of us are married to someone like Haman. Some of us are related to someone like Haman. Some of us go to church with someone like Haman. Some of us work with someone like Haman. Some of us have children like Haman. But even worse, some of us have a pastor who's like Haman. But if that's not bad enough, some of us can look right in the mirror and see we're just like Haman. So I want to give you a quick and hopefully not too long of a breakdown of the book of Esther and a quick look at this wicked person named Haman. The king of Persia, whose name was Ahasuerus, had a feast. He wanted his wife Vashti to come and show her beauty. She refuses and he divorces her because of her rebellion towards him. Him and the others was afraid that the way she was being would rub off on all the other Persian women. So now he has a slew of women to choose from to take her place as Queen of Persia. There were some Jews that was brought there into captivity. One man named was Mordecai. He was raising his uncle's daughter named Esther. She was beautiful, and on the 10th month it was Esther's time to be presented to the king. Mordecai charged her not to let anyone know that she was a Jewess. The king saw her, and it was love at first sight. So now Esther is queen of Persia. Mordecai just sat outside the palace. He even heard people conspiring against the king and told Esther, and the men were hanged. After that, the king promotes Haman to be above everyone. Haman was the top dog over all the people. The only one above him was the king. When Haman went out among the people, everyone would bow and reverence him. But Mordecai wouldn't budge. All the servants asked Mordecai why he wouldn't bow to Haman, but Mordecai wouldn't listen to him. It made Haman very angry and he wanted to kill Mordecai, but he saw the people that was with Mordecai. It was a bunch of Jews. So he makes up a lie to get the king on his side. The king gave Haman his ring and made it a decree to kill all the Jews. Now who's this sound like? It sounds about like Hitler to me. But Mordecai saw the letter and decree and let out a loud bitter cry. Esther heard about it and sent her guard to Mordecai, and Mordecai told the guard everything. Esther went to the king and asked him to have a banquet and wanted Haman to come. So Haman was so happy to be going to the banquet, but he saw Mordecai and he was angry. He called for his wife and his friends to bring about everything he had accomplished. But he complained about Mordecai. They told him to make a gallows and to plead his cause to the king at the banquet. So he made a gallows to hang Mordecai on. That night the king found out what all Mordecai had done, how he saved his life. He wanted to reward him. The king spoke to Haman and asked him what shall be done to a man that I delight to honor. Haman thought he was referring to him, so he said, let the royal pair be brought to him and give him a horse and a crown. Let it be delivered by a royal prince. So the king told Haman to take all those things to Mordecai. After that Haman ran to his house, mourning and weeping. The next day was the banquet, and the king asked Esther what her request was. So she told the king everything. She told the king someone was killing her people. The king asked her who was doing this. She told him it was that wicked Haman. So they hanged him on the gallows which she had prepared for Mordecai. Haman's dead, and Mordecai was promoted, and all the enemies of the Jews was destroyed. What history this is, how God made provision for his people. No matter the circumstance, the Jews are here to stay. No matter the circumstance, the children of God are safe under the hand of God. But in all of this, how tragic it is to end up getting hung like Haman. Let's take a few moments and look at 5 things when it comes to being like Haman and what we should avoid if we don't want to end up like him. Number 1 is being preeminent. Esther 3:5, when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not nor did reverence him, then Haman was full of wrath. When someone is like this and wants to be the center of attention, all eyes on me, it is dangerous and has consequences. Haman was angry when people wasn't bowing down to him and following him. He wanted to be in the limelight. He wanted to be the head honcho, the big man that walked in the room and all heads turned to see him because of who he was. Do you know anyone like this? He is poisonous. Esther 3:6, then he thought to scorn and lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. When a man has hate in his heart for someone, it's poison. It will slowly destroy you before you know it. Haman hated Mordecai and wanted to kill him, but not only that, he wanted to kill the whole race of people just because of his hatred toward one man. When you want to be the center of attention and you hate someone that doesn't acknowledge you, you want to do harm, and that is poison. Number 3 is prejudice. Esther 3:8-13, and Haman said unto the king Ahasuerus, There's a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all the people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. And letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day in the 12th month, which is a month Adar, and to take spoil of them for a prey. Haman's hatreds towards one man and wanted to kill a whole race to be able to get one man obviously shows Haman was a racist. Just think about it. Someone wanted to be the center of attention. Whoa, it's me. Look at me. I'm the best. But then you have poison because you have so much hate towards people that don't reverence or acknowledge you. Worse than that, you put a label and seek out to destroy a race, and you label a whole race because of what one person of that race did and not bowing to you. And number 4, he was prideful. Esther 5:11, and Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the kings. Everyone knows pride comes before destruction, and in this case it's true. You have Haman bragging about everything he's done, all of his accomplishments. You have people trying to advance and will take anyone out and do anyone wrong to get where they need to go. It's a dog-eat-dog world out here. People who are preachers trying to be the top preacher and will do anything to get that status. People trying to move up on a job and use other employees as stepping stones to get there. Pride, pride, pride. Haman was prideful, a bragger. Do you know anyone like that? So you have someone who wants to be the center of attention, someone who hates others, and someone who is racist because he stereotypes a whole race because of his hatred towards one man, and of course, a bragger full of pride. And then, of course, number 5, sorry, a little dusty in here, is he was plucked up. Esther 7:10, so they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. See this? Karma. You reap what you sow. You do people wrong, guess what? It will come back to get you. Just because someone doesn't acknowledge you doesn't mean you should go after them and do them dirty. Just because you can't get where you want to go, don't use people as stepping stone. Just because you've done so much, you better not brag. Don't follow the footsteps of Haman. You'll plan to do dirt to someone, it will come back on you. Look how Haman planned to hang Mordecai and he ended up getting hanged. You better stay humble and seek the Lord and let him direct your steps and not follow after the steps of Haman. Don't try to be the center of attention and don't have hate towards anyone. Whether you get along with someone or not, just stay away from each other. No need to hate anyone. No need to stereotype a race because of a person is a certain way. Everyone has a choice to be the way they are. Not everyone is the same. Don't be prideful because the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. The only reason anyone has anything that they have is because the Lord allowed it. It's not by anything that we do. It's because the Lord has given us room to do whatever it is that we do to get what we got. Seek the Lord and keep a humble heart and know all things come from Him, and if you do that, you won't get hung like Haman.